Welcome to Meet the Candidates Night, sponsored by the district's PTOs. I'm Victoria McKenzie, your moderator. I'm a senior at Mapac High School and a member of the student government. Our candidates this year are Ben DiLullo, Tanner McCracken, Gil McMahon, and Michael Simone. This year, due to the pandemic, we have had to do things a little differently. 5 questions have been created and furnished to each candidate. Responses to such questions were videotaped by each candidate and pieced together. Although no response has been edited, those extending beyond the maximum time frame of 2 minutes have been cut short. Candidates were notified of these guidelines in advance and agreed to adhere to them. Each candidate will have up to 2 minutes to share an opening statement. We respectfully ask the candidates to make sure that their statements were for the sole purpose of getting to know who they are. Following the completion of opening statements, each candidate will be asked 5 questions. The same questions have been asked of each candidate. Due to the circumstances this year, questions were chosen by the PTO President Council as opposed to coming from a live audience. Once all the questions have been answered, each candidate will have a maximum of 2 minutes to share a closing remark. This will be their opportunity to touch upon a subject matter that may not have been discussed. This closing statement gives each candidate a final chance to speak solely on his behalf.
Hello, my name is Gil McMahon. I'm a candidate for the school board of the school district of Mapac. I want to thank the PTO for the opportunity for us candidates to be able to present this video. We understand in the COVID virus environment that we have to do things differently than in the past, and they've come up with a great solution here. I moved to Mapac in 1981, bringing my wife and my 2 children from the Bronx. I am a Juris Doctor degree, a degree in economics and finance. I am a graduate of the Columbia University School of Law, School Law Institute, and the Harvard University School of Law Child Advocacy Program. I'm the founding attorney for the McMahon Advocacy Group, which is a group that advocates for the special needs children and their families. I have served as the trustee of St. John's for the last 9 years, and I'm presently the president of the Board of Finance for St. John's. I'm the administrator of the food pantry in St. John's, and I'm a member of the Communities That Care. I have coached CYO basketball in Mapac for the last 39 years, and my son Thomas and I are presently the coordinators of that program.
Hi everybody, my name is Tanner McCracken, and I'm running for the Mapac School Board. I'm a proud 2017 alum of the Mapac High School. After high school, I've moved on to SUNY Albany, where I study political science. In addition to that, I've also worked full-time in my professional career for the New York State Senate. I've worked for multiple senators up at Albany, the state capitol building, and down here locally for Senate District 40. I have gained valuable skills in legislative work, constituent correspondence work, and budget analysis. Also at SUNY Albany, I served as the Board of Finance Liaison and ranking member of the Appropriations Committee for the nonprofit organization Student Association Incorporated, where we have a $3 million budget that funds all clubs and organizations on campus. I'm ready to take the skills I learned in Mapac, take the lessons I've learned at SUNY Albany, and my experience in the state capitol building to our school board, so we can create positive change for the Mapac School District. I'm excited for the questions, and let's get to it.
Hello, Mapac. I'm a proud 24-year Mapac resident, father of 3 amazing children. My oldest is a 2016 Mapac High School graduate, and my youngest is a 3rd grader at Lakeview Elementary. My wife is a 4th grade teacher at Fulmer Road Elementary. I've been the president of Mapac SEPTO, that's a special education PTO, since 2018. I've worked at a major pharmaceutical company for 30 years as a contract development manager and project manager. I graduated from Columbia University with a BA in economics, and I have a an MBA from the Stern School of Business at New York University. Why am I running? I want to make a difference and prepare our students with every available means to succeed in an undefined future. It's all about the kids. The student is the center of our universe. Their health and safety is the undisputed priority. Our children must feel both nurtured and challenged to grow into the people they are meant to become. What does the Mahopac way mean to you? Well, what it means to me is being the best. And we deserve nothing less. The best in class educators and administrators should teach our students. Community engagement, full participation yields full representation. The Board of Ed needs to reach out and facilitate open dialogue and community participation in the education policy decision-making processes. I look forward to your support and look forward to your vote. Thank you.
Question 1. What motivates you to become a school board member?
What motivates me to become a school board member is really when I look at the board as a whole. There's 9 members on our Mahopac School Board, and I believe at least one should be a student that has recently graduated from the Mahopac school system. I took my first steps into Austin Road 14 years ago, and I traveled all the way up through the school system and graduated from the Mahopac High School. I have seen things with my very own eyes and touched things with my very own hands in the Mahopac school system, and I believe I could bring a perspective to the board unlike any other. And that's what motivates me. I also have strong beliefs and values on local representation. I strongly believe about giving back to the community that has given me so much. And I think that happens at the local level. If we put good people into our governments and our school boards that really connect with the people around, I think a lot of good can happen. We need to keep an open ear and an open mind towards making this community even better than it already is. And that's what motivates me to run for the Mahopac School Board.
This election is about the future, and I want to make a difference in the future of our children, in the future of our district, and in the success of our town. My youngest son is a 3rd grader at Lakeview, and he is thriving. His academic road was a little bumpy, but he gets great support. My daughter was an MHS honor student who took a number of college and AP classes and participated in the WISE program. The strong instruction she received at MHS was instrumental in her graduating this year from college with a summa cum laude degree. My goal is to make every student get the same quality of instruction and support. I was able to make a difference as the treasurer and as the president of SEPTA, where I led a talented team of parents and teachers that successfully raised awareness of the needs of special ed students and their families. We organized events such as Fall into SEPTO, Cookies with Santa, and Family Bowling. We provided a platform for forums, discussion groups, and speakers to educate the community. We worked with Carmel PD to help with their interaction with special ed children. SEPTO's successful fundraising campaign supported teachers' grants for additional classroom resources for all students, general ed and special ed, that included sensory hallways, flexible furniture, and STEAM materials. This success motivated me to run for trustees because I will bring the same leadership, passion, and talent to all of our children.
First question we're being asked to answer is, what motivates me to become a member of the school board? I've thought many times about becoming a member of the Mahopac School Board, but in these trying times, I think it's time for me to step up and serve. I care a lot about this school district. I have first-hand knowledge of the school district through my sons going to the high school and my 3 grandsons presently enrolled in the school district. I think that my years of dealing with school districts across the state have given me insights into the abilities of school district, education, and the needs of students in the community. I intend to use that knowledge and that experience to help move our school district forward. We are recognized as a school district with a high reputation, but we must keep working towards increasing that reputation and increasing the education opportunities we're supplying to our students now and in the future.
Question 2. What do you think is the greatest challenge in the Mahopac Central School District regarding special education?
The initial process of identifying and testing a child to determine if they need special services and programs can be an emotional one for both the student and the parent. Although the IEP, the Individual Education Plan, and the 504 Plan are legal governmental documents, the district should do whatever it can to make that process as streamlined and as painless as possible so that children are effectively directed to the most appropriate services. Another area is early intervention. It is critical to getting children on the path to academic and social success, and these services are available before kindergarten. This is an area that should always be encouraged, if appropriate. Communicate, and over-communicate. The dialogue between the student, the parent, and teacher, and the administration should be fluid and continual. Breakdowns in that two-way conversation generate frustration, anger, and conflict, which sometimes can be avoided. Parents' point of view need to be voiced and heard, and realistic expectations set by all sides. As budget constraints loom in the future, special education may become under pressure to cut support services that our students have already had in the past. This is a great challenge and needs to be carefully monitored and managed because our special ed program is a strength in the district's overall program and a competitive advantage with other districts. Special ed education policies need to benefit the greatest number of children.
Mahopac, like every other school district, has to decide what kind of school district it's going to be regarding special education. We can limit our services to the exact letter of the law, which is the minimum required, or we can provide the services and support that the child needs. We need to commit to the latter. We need to commit for two reasons. Not giving them what they need early means that those children with disabilities may never recover, and it may cost the school district more money in the long run to go with the minimum. I'll give you an example. Mahopac had a student who could not speak. After 2 years of early intervention with trained speech therapists, this child still could not speak a single word. When he came to Mahopac, he was destined to 5 times speech a week for all of his school years. Mahopac retained a unique speech specialist with whom he finally became to say a few limited words. This therapist, while needed for him, was very expensive. Mahopac wanted to meet the child's need but somehow ameliorate the cost. We sent an in-house speech therapist to be trained to the advanced level needed. That therapist took over and the student had great success. The school district saved on the specialist fees and on years of speech therapy for the child, as he needed no more speech therapy after 5th grade. We met his needs, guaranteed a productive education, and saved money.
I think there are many challenges when it comes to special education in the Mahopac Central School District, and it starts early. It starts when we have to identify the needs of our students, because everybody learns different. I think that's very clear that we're all individuals and we all have different and separate needs, and we all learn through different methods. So I think that early identification of what the needs are is a very big challenge for our students and their parents. But then you need to go through the Mahopac school system and through the special educational system. And I think it's a huge challenge that we need the bandwidth, we need the resources and the infrastructure to make sure we're fostering an environment that helps everybody with their learning differences. And then finally, when our students reach the end in the Mahopac High School, when they become seniors, I think that giant leap out of the school system that they've been in for so long is a huge challenge. And I want to help with that, because there's many paths you can take once you graduate high school. You can go on to college, you can enter a certificate program, you can go right into our workforce, or you can serve in our military. There's so many journeys you can take after Mahopac, and I think that transition is a big challenge. So I want to make sure that we look at the individual and we make sure the parents and the students have what they need to take that giant leap. Those are the biggest challenges, but I don't know everything. And I want to have an open mind and open ears to the families and the students of this community. And I want to learn more on what I can do to help as a board member.
Question 3. What are 2 to 3 needs that must be prioritized for our district to address? Why do you see these as needs?
Obviously, the first need is safety for our kids, our staff, our administration, in the work we are doing now and in the changing times to come. We need to get the students back to school, but safely. I'm not sure we know what that is going to look like and what the timetable will be. It all depends on a virus that's in its infancy and the vaccine. The second issue is our budget. Right now, there is a lack of certainty on the state and federal aid to schools. We are going to have to adjust the funding sources, stresses, while maintaining quality education and budget stability for our community. And in the midst of all that, we need to improve our education for our students. Programs like New York State's first certified course in substance abuse, addiction, and recovery with counselor certification, our new AEMS course, and 6th and 9th grade assimilation and learning skill classes are recent improvements that are examples of how we can provide innovative opportunities to keep getting better.
Well, look at the times we're living in with the COVID-19 pandemic. I can think of 2 very urgent needs right now. One being the safety of our students and staff, and number 2, the economic implications of this pandemic. So let's talk about the first one. We need to be ready for when this next school year starts in the fall to adhere to the guidelines and the mandates from the federal government, the state government, and the county government. And we gotta make sure we're listening to the experts so we can keep our students and staff safe, but while not infringing on the Mahopac education and the Mahopac experience that makes this school system so great. But then I think about the economic implications. And I think about the staff that we've hired on. And I think about the programs that our school system has fought so long and hard for since, honestly, the 2008 recession. We've finally built ourselves back up to the point we're at now. And that means passing this year's budget. We need to make sure that we can bounce back. But going forward, I'm going to be a board member that will advocate for lower taxes. When you turn on your TV and turn on your computer, you're going to hear me at the board meetings talking about how can we make a budget without increasing taxes. Because the truth is, what's going to incentivize new families moving to this town is a lower tax burden. We will encourage parents to raise their kids right here in Mahopac if we give them the financial independence. And if we have more people buying property here, that will in turn give us more tax revenue to expand our programs and expand our staff.
Well, the pandemic has turned all our lives upside down, and we've had to adapt. One severe consequence has been that the state of New York may not be able to support school districts at the same level as planned. As of now, the Mahopac school budget that is on the ballot assumes the planned level of support from New York State. However, New York State's contribution can be adjusted on June 30th of 2020, December 31st of 2020, and March 31st of 2021. Therefore, Mahopac districts must be prepared to make reductions. This requires multiple levels of planning and prioritizing so we can respond to any downturn in New York State's budget support. This, I feel, is the #1 critical issue for our district. First things first, pass the Mahopac school budget. If the budget does not pass, the district will be forced to move to an austerity budget, which would trigger a $1.4 million cut. That is not an option. It would wreak havoc on our schools, our property values, and community reputation. Remember, the value of your home is directly related to the quality of our schools. The second issue I think is critical is how do we come back to school, to campus in September? The safety and health of our children and educators is the undisputed priority. There is no argument there. State and local health guidance will dictate how Mahopac can operate in September of 2020. But the devil is always in the details. How will classrooms be set up? Will distance learning continue to be part of the educational formula in some capacity? How will sports move forward before and after programs? These are all questions that need to be answered and considered before September 2020. And that, I think, are the two critical issues.
Question 4. An individual school board member has no authority, for only the board as a whole can make decisions for the district. What skills or traits will allow you to contribute to the effective operations of the board as a whole?
I think this is a great question because it is true. The board is one entity with 9 members, all bringing forward different opinions and different insight. So what I think I could bring to the board is the modern Mahopac student perspective. Because if I win this election, I will be the only board member that is a 21st century student that has gone through this Mahopac school system. I know what it's like to be a student, and I think that'll be a great reassurance to the parents of this district. And I think the teachers will also respect this because they know I respect their role that they play in this community because I was just sitting in their classrooms 3 years ago. So when something comes up in the board meeting, we have an agenda item or a solution or an initiative that we want to talk about, you can be guaranteed that what I'm going to bring up is from the voice of a student. What does this look like through the student's eyes? So when we're talking about those issues and talking about those solutions, there's someone that was firsthand affected by the decisions previously made by the board, in both a positive sense and a negative sense. I could talk about the successes of Mahopac schools and the failures of the Mahopac schools. And I think that is very, very important. But something else I can also bring to the board is what I have learned in my professional career. Like I've said, I work for the New York State Senate up in Albany and also down here in Senate District 40. And there's a lot I learned in Albany. And in a time where state aid is going to dictate so much of our financial flexibility, I think it's important to have a school board member that's up in the state capitol with their finger on the pulse. What are they saying up there, and how is that going to impact us down here? That's what I want to bring, and I think I will be a very insightful member of the board.
I'm very experienced in working with a group to solve a problem and get to a goal. In fact, I love working with teams to solve problems and get to goals. In my 30 years of professional work, I've led many successful projects that have had many diverse stakeholders. I've worked on $100 million deals that included multiple stakeholders, including external customers, internal account managers, lawyers, product strategy, and contract management. I led these negotiations through various stages of financial analysis, detailed review of terms and conditions, and legal approval. I successfully influenced without formal authority, and I can take this to the Board of Ed. I'm pragmatic and straightforward. The best way to solve a problem is to approach it with a rational, data-driven, fact-based approach and to reduce the emotional elements as much as possible and let data and reason drive the discussion. With SEPTO, I led a talented and passionate team of parents and teachers with strong views and goals. I was able to harness and focus that energy so we could run successful events and meet in meetings. I will bring that same leadership, perseverance, and skills to the Board of Education.
Having been a board member before, I understand the dynamics. I have always been a coach. My style in business is to create a team, draw on the knowledge and experience of my fellow board members, and work hard to prepare for our meetings to ensure I understand the issues. I'm a good listener, but will not hesitate to add my opinions. I have a good relationship with many of the members of the board and expect we will be able to work collaboratively.
Question 5. How would you handle an unfamiliar circumstance that becomes a critical situation in terms of education?
The COVID-19 pandemic is the most radically unfamiliar event that has happened in a generation, and has already created a critical situation in our children's education. The new school year is around the corner. How do we open our campuses and keep our students and educators safe and healthy? How do we manage our sports practices, our games, our before and after programs, our extracurricular activities? These are the basic questions that need to be addressed. Now the government, New York State, Putnam County Executive Office, the Putnam County Department of Health, and other agencies may all give guidance and directives which should be followed. However, the devil is always in the details. And the district should be planning for those different scenarios and outcomes, keeping parents, teachers, and all other stakeholders as informed as possible. When decisions are made, they should be inclusive as possible so that implementation will become as smooth as possible. In general, when any unexpected event or emerging trend, like vaping, an increase in illegal drug use, or the abuse of social media, the district should consult the best experts available, decide on a realistic and common sense approach, and involve the entire community to implement that solution. Solving problems and challenges are best accomplished by a group of highly motivated professionals and public servants using the best data and methodology available.
During my career, I've often taken high-pressure jobs where I had little background. When I left, I believe I improved the sector while becoming a subject matter expert in the field. These are the skills needed to address these circumstances. I would identify the issue, listen to the in-district administration and staff, as well as my fellow board members. If the solution to the situation was not clear, I would seek subject matter experts to inform us in understanding the situation and possible outcomes. I would also look for an after-crisis analysis on how this happened and our response. That is how we learn. This is similar to the current coronavirus situation. Superintendent DiLullo and the board have dealt with many situations never seen before and investigated many ideas, but they have had to run those ideas through the subject matter experts of the health department to ensure the safety of all involved.
Well, it really depends on the situation because many different factors contribute to uncertain situations. But there's a couple things that need to stay consistent no matter what occurs. I think what's very important is getting all the facts, hearing the full story, and being open-minded. When something initially happens, we can't formulate an opinion too quickly. We need to develop an understanding of all sides of the situation. And from that point, we can move forward. But how does that happen? That happens through communication. We need to communicate as a district. Through the schools, through the community, we need to all understand what's happening. And a lot of that also stems down to transparency. We need to be transparent with the issues we face. But there are some situations where there's an urgent crisis and a lot of needs need to be solved very quickly. And I understand that. And sometimes you don't have time to get the full story and a full grasp of the situation. And in those cases, I want to promise the Mahopac residents that I'll be quick on my feet. I'll be ready to take a firm, bold stance towards solving the problems. I'm ready to work with the board members, ready to work with our educators, and ready to work with our parents and understand what's best for the students, because that's what it's all about.
In closing, again, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to speak to the public and to the PTO. Please consider me for the board. I believe my education, experience, and leadership makes me an asset for the board, kids, staff, and community. And be safe.
I want to thank everyone of this town and everyone watching for giving me a chance in this election. To throw my hat in this race and bring forward my ideas and my vision for the Mahopac schools is the opportunity of a lifetime. And this has been very, very exciting. I hope you take a chance on me because I'm ready to bring a perspective that I've never seen on the Mahopac School Board. You can ensure that I'm ready to represent the students within the schools, but also work with the educators and work with the non-academic workers of this district. Who's the biggest employer of Mahopac? It's the Mahopac Central School District. We are internally helping our community by hiring people around this town and training the children of this town. So I gotta be mindful of all aspects. And I'm ready, and I know how big of a jump this will be. And I'm not taking this race lightly. I'm taking this very serious. I understand the implications behind the decisions we make. And although it's a lot, I know a $125 million budget is a big deal. And I'm ready to go into this with a soft touch, knowing that I may not know everything, but I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to develop. And you know that when I acquire the skills I need through experience, deep down, I have good intentions and I have wide open ears. I'm ready to listen, and I want to help as many people as possible. So again, MAYAPAC, thank you again for listening to me, listening to the answers to my questions. And no matter what your decision may be, I'm very excited that you are participating in this election. Thank you.
I am running for MAYAPAC Board of Education trustee for my son Daniel, for your daughter, for your son, for your grandchild, niece or nephew, brother or sister. I am running because I know I can make a difference and help move the needle in making the MAYAPAC district the best that it can be. The Board of Ed works for you, and you need to feel welcome to come and discuss any issues and thoughts and concerns in a civil and productive way. These are challenging times ahead, but our district is strong and resilient, and we will not only survive, we will flourish. What do I bring to the table? I consider myself a straight shooter. What you see is what you get. That approach has served me well personally and professionally. People typically respond best when you tell them the truth, even if it's not the most pleasant news. I'm a 30-year business professional who has managed and negotiated multi-million-dollar contracts for a Fortune 100 company. I have led large project groups that have tackled complex problems and developed long-lasting solutions. My financial expertise and problem-solving skills are important to have as a trustee, and I love working with a team to get things done. As president of SEPTO, I led a great team that got things done for special and general ed students. When the ballots arrive at your home this week, please vote for me and the school budget and return the ballot via mail. This is an absentee mail-in ballot only, so that it arrives by June 9th. Please stay safe, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you for taking the time to view this presentation. Please remember that the 2020-2021 candidate election will be held by absentee ballot only. Ballots submitted via mail must be received by 5 p.m. on Tuesday, June 9th. Ballots submitted in person must be dropped off at MAYAPAC High School on Tuesday, June 9th between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m.